And here we are one more time, my brothers and sisters. I want to welcome you to another Living Hope Today study. Today we find ourselves in Genesis chapter 34. And this honestly is a perplexing chapter. It's kind of gory. Bad things happen. Seems like bad things happen for no reason except, evil exists in the world, and the response to the evil seems to be overwhelmingly too much, but maybe not. Why is this here? But before we try to answer that kind of question, let's just look at the story itself and see what happens, remembering that God, through the inspiration of His Holy Spirit, as He's inspired Moses to write these words, includes the details that He wants us to focus on. There's lots of things happening in this story that are not mentioned, but we're going to try to clue in on the details to see what's going on here. And as we begin in verse 1, we remember this lady. Her name is Dinah. Okay, if you remember, she's the daughter Leah had born to Jacob. And you recall, I hope, that Leah is very fertile. She's having kids all over the place. Her eyesight's kind of bad, but she is not really loved by Jacob. Now, does that pass through? Is his attitude towards Leah passed on to his attitude towards Leah's daughter Dinah? We're not sure, but we are sure that the text wants to make specific mention of where Dinah comes from, who she belongs to, who her mother is. Okay, Leah had born to Jacob, the daughter Dinah. Dinah decides to go out and visit the women of the land. You remember they settled in Shechem after they crossed at the Jabbok ford. Okay, they went into Shechem. They're settling there. Jacob has huge amounts of livestock, and he has a pretty big entourage of family. All right. What does the text tell us beyond that? She goes out, and what happens? When Shechem, son of Hamor, okay, so here's another character introduced to us. We saw him yesterday. Shechem is the son of the leader of this town, and the town is named Shechem, by the way. He's a Hivite. We're told specifically who he's the son of, and that he is a Hivite. Why are we told that? Well, you remember Ham, the son of Noah, had Canaan, and Canaan produced many, many offspring, but the Hivites were part of Canaan's progeny. All right. So we're told that detail. He's a Hivite. He's the ruler of that area. Okay, so he has power. He sees Dinah. What does he do? He takes her and he violates her. All right, that's code for he raped her. All right, so now we're in a situation where we have Jacob's daughter Dinah being raped by a Canaanite leader. All right, what do we do about that? Well, the story proceeds. His heart was drawn to Dinah, so his rape wasn't out of hatred. He loved Dinah, it says. His heart was drawn to her, but notice the text wants to tell us again, she's the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the girl. He spoke tenderly to her. Oh, by the way, I violated you, but, I really like you. Imagine Dinah's emotion and the trouble in her own heart through all this, but also notice in the text that Dinah doesn't seem to be the key figure in the narrative. Yes, she's certainly the one impacted by the things that happen in the narrative, but we're not given what she says or what she does or how she feels. No, the narrative moves past all that into the reaction of Jacob and his family. All right, so we have Shechem speaking tenderly to her. Shechem said to his father, Hamor, get me this girl as my wife. He wants this girl. And who is this girl again? Again, the text keeps focusing us here. She is Dinah. but not just Dinah. She's the daughter of Jacob, the daughter of the covenant patriarch, the one who is moving God's plan forward. His daughter is the one that got raped. All right. When Jacob heard that his daughter Dinah had been defiled, his sons were in the fields with his livestock, so he kept quiet about it until they came home. Again, the text wants us to be sure we know this is Jacob's daughter. Now, if you know anything about Jacob, when in a few chapters he finds out that Joseph, according to the report of his sons, an untrue report, Joseph has been killed by a wild animal, and here's his bloody coat to prove it. Jacob just melts down, just goes crazy. But here we see his daughter, the daughter that he has through Leah, gets raped, and we're told what? Well, he keeps quiet. He just waits. Okay, so the sons apparently come home from the field, but in the meantime, we read that Shechem's father, Hamor, went to talk to Jacob. Okay, so now we've had Dinah going out to talk to the women of Shechem. Now we have Hamor going out to talk to Jacob. How does the story proceed? Now Jacob's sons had come in from the field as soon as they heard what had happened. They were filled with fury and grief and fury. Okay, so we're told how they respond in their hearts because Shechem had done a disgraceful thing in Israel. Notice this, we're already speaking of Israel as a nation in some sense. This is more than just Jacob's daughter. This is a group. He's done a disgraceful thing in this place called Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter. Again, the text wants to keep telling us that Jacob has a daughter named Dinah who got raped, a thing that should not be done. But Hamor said to them, "Hey, my son Shechem has his heart set on your daughter. Please give her to him as his wife." Oh, wow. So you're going to rape her, and then you're going to ask daddy to go talk to her father, and then you're going to expect that her father is just going to acquiesce to the crime against her and say, "No problem, here you can have her as a wife." Well, it doesn't quite go that way. As Hamor makes his appeal, he says, "Why don't you intermarry with us? You can give us your daughters, and you can take our daughters for yourselves. You can settle among us. The land's open to you. You can live in it. You can trade in it and acquire property in it. Hey, let's just, join families here now that my son has violated your daughter." Well, again, while Hamor is listing the benefits of them all coming together, Shechem chimes in, the rapist. Then Shechem said to Dinah's father and brothers, "Let me find favor in your eyes, and I'll give you whatever you ask." Now, if that's not a statement made by a spoiled rich kid, I don't know what is. Forget about what I did, and forget about how I've hurt your sister. Just let's all get together and I'll make it worth your while. Wow. Make the price for the bride and the gift I am to bring as great as you like, and I'll pay whatever you ask me. Only give me the girl as my wife. Okay, I'm willing to pay up, guys. What do you want? Just, forget about the fact that I violated your sister. I'll make it right by paying you whatever you want if you'll give her to me. Wow. There it is. Because their sister Dinah had been defiled, Jacob's sons replied deceitfully. All right, who do we know in this family that knows how to deceive people? Well, it's Jacob himself. And here we see his sons carrying on the tradition. There's no honest conversation here about how you violated our sister and now you have to pay. No, there's a little trickery going on here. So they replied deceitfully as they speak to Shechem and his father Hamor. And they said to them, "We can't do such a thing. We can't give our sister to a man who is not circumcised. That would be a disgrace to us." Here comes the deception. We don't want to be disgraced. The issue isn't about what you did to our sister. The issue is about whether or not we would be disgraced by giving our sister to somebody that's not circumcised. So the plot and the plan have been laid deceitfully by Jacob's sons. We will give our consent to you on one condition only. Oh, well, there's another deceitful lie. We're not going to give our consent to you, but here it comes, that you become like us by circumcising all your males. So, look how this expands. Hey, you raped our sister. You made us an offer to receive, if we'll give her to you, we can receive all these benefits, right? Your stuff and whatever you ask me, I'll give it to you, that sort of benefit. Okay, well, let's lie to you. All right, you need to be circumcised. Wait a minute, wait. Everybody in Shechem that's male needs to be circumcised. Okay, well, that's the demand, that's the deception. Then we'll give you our daughters and take your daughters for ourselves. We'll settle among you. We'll become one people with you. Okay, this is exactly what they have proposed, and now the condition has been set of what would need to happen to make that come about. Again, none of it true. But if you will not agree to be circumcised, hey, we'll take our sister and go. Isn't that interesting? We're not going to attack you. We're not going to seek justice. We're not going to bring Shechem into the local court, assuming there was one. We're not going to try to administer justice on behalf of our sister. No, if you say you won't be circumcised, we're just going to go. No problem. We'll leave. Again, more deception, more lies. Their proposal seemed good to Hamor and his son Shechem. Okay, well, let's all get circumcised. Imagine that meeting. Well, you don't have to imagine it. Here it is. The young man who was the most honored. Oh, here you go. Did I say spoiled rich kid? Here we go. He's the most honored of all his father's household. He lost no time in doing what they said because he was delighted with Jacob's daughter. Okay, so he really did have feelings for this woman that he has raped. So Hamor and his son Shechem, they go to the gate of their city. The gate of the city is where almost all the official business of the city happens. And they go there to speak to their fellow townsmen. These men are friendly toward us, they said. Let them live in our land and trade in it. The land has plenty of room for them. We can marry their daughters and they can marry ours. But the men will consent to live with us as one people only on the condition that our males be circumcised as they themselves are. Now, I know those were different days. I just know that, if you go to a whole towns full of men and say, hey guys, what are you doing this afternoon? I have an idea what we should do. This might not be the most popular idea, but to show you the power that these guys have as they express the benefit to the Shechemites, right? You're going to have the Israelite daughters. Won't their livestock, their property, and all their other animals become ours? We can get their stuff. So let us give our consent to them, and they will settle among us. Okay, we've already taken their daughter illegitimately. If we meet their demands, we can take the rest of their stuff. Okay, that's the plot from their side. All the men who went out of the city gate agreed with Hamor and his son Shechem, and every male in the city was circumcised. So the Shechemites are willing to meet the demands of the Israelites. But 3 days later, while all of them were still in pain, two of Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and attacked the unsuspecting city, killing every male. Wow. So we have some super hostile reaction to what happened to Dinah. And now instead of seeking revenge against Shechem, the one who committed the crime, we seek revenge against the whole male population of the city. Again, there's really no precedent for something like this. And now what do we see? The Israelite group, Jacob's family is now extremely aggressive, right? Killing many people that had no part in the crime that was committed. What is God telling us here? They put Hamor and his son Shechem to the sword, and they took Dinah from Shechem's house and they left. So these two that had a great plan of how we could all get together and share our stuff and intermarry are now dead. The raped sister, Dinah, is now out of Shechem, back with her family. If you know anything about those days, you'll know that once raped, her opportunity to have a family and get married and that sort of thing is generally wiped out by this act of violence against her. But again, Dinah isn't really brought to the center of the story except for the fact that she was violated. The sons of Jacob came upon the dead bodies. So now instead of just Levi and his brother Simeon, now we have all the kids of Jacob, right? They came upon the dead bodies. They looted the city where their sister had been defiled. So now they've killed all the men, and now they're taking their stuff. They're the sons, so the whole family's involved. They seized their flocks, herds, and donkeys, and everything else of theirs in the city and out in the fields. They carried off all their wealth and all their women and children, taking as plunder everything in the houses. So now we have total annihilation of the city. We've done it all. We're taking it all. It's violent. Wow. Here we go. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi. Okay, so now we finally have Jacob responding, right? You have brought trouble on me by making me a stench to the Canaanites and Perizzites, the people living in this land. We are few in number. So what's he worried about? And if they join forces against me and attack me, I and my household will be destroyed. You guys have done violence. You've gone to a retribution that's probably out of proportion. We could have prosecuted the guy that did it, but instead we wiped out the whole village and took their stuff and just destroyed them. Well, you know what, guys? We're too small to be doing this. It's interesting, Jacob isn't upset with them about what they did because what they did was unjust. He's upset with them because what they did might have repercussions for him. But they replied, should he have treated our sister like a prostitute? Their design is about their family. What happened to our sister? So there's the story. The theologians are going to debate about why it's here, what it's telling us. But what we see is Israel and the family are now basically isolated and known to be very aggressive if they're upset about something. Even if they're legitimately upset about it, they will go to extremes to avenge themselves. We'll see this animosity play out as they continue to move into the promised land that God has called them to. We'll pick it up there next time, church. God bless you. Serve him well today.
Lord,